And welcome to today's live stream. It is July 5th in the year 2018. Hashtag Second Civil War. Alex Jones makes another false prediction. Why is he doing this? I would say that Alex Jones is there even to discredit some of the ideas of many of his supporters, not just the ones in the past, for example, 9/11 truth activists, but to also discredit those that are part of the new school of Alex Jones listeners. You see, it takes someone that was listening to Alex Jones in the past. It takes someone that, though, I don't know, has been a hardcore Alex Jones fan in, say, the early 2000s to see how much he has changed today. So we're talking about this from the context that Alex Jones is there on purpose to discredit a great deal of some of the things that he discusses. Obviously, some of the things that he's discussed over the years, some things are truthful. Things regarding the global elite, things regarding the new world order, things regarding so many other things, so many other words that are now flagged. There's also been like a change in course in the last few years. So what I'm going to do for you now is play for you the audio from ABC just so you get an idea of how they frame this, because take note of the fact that they don't really feature people in the mainstream media that are speaking about particular issues, whether it be 9/11 or other things. They always feature Alex Jones, and they always describe him as someone that represents others, when others, right, that may have important issues are never featured. So we're going to go ahead and listen to this. And I'm also going to bring you some other information to think about. The audio for this is no good. But Whoopi Goldberg is discussing the topic. Also, Megyn Kelly faces backlash for interview with Alex Jones. Megyn Kelly was only for one purpose, and that was to shine the mainstream media spotlight on Alex Jones. To give Alex Jones promotion. To give Alex Jones attention. And this is something that a lot of the mainstream commentators on the left, whether we're talking about Kyle from Secular Talk, whether we're talking about the Young Turks, they don't discuss it like that. Of course, because they don't believe in an all-encompassing conspiracy to where agents like Alex Jones are there to discredit genuine concerns, real concerns about the direction that this nation is going. And now, right, it could be someone like myself. I can bring up something that I'm passionate about, and now it's more easily put into that box. And yet we both share the first name. It becomes even easier for people that don't know any better to put two Alexes that are both into content that could be put into the box as conspiratorial. Yes, we both share the first name. And we both can be put into a box that can be thrown away. And having lived in a major city like Portland, Oregon, to have escaped it, to live now in full-time isolation off the grid in Colorado, I know what it's like to see the zombie left and the zombie right. Say, you either believe exactly as we believe, or we'll call you a left or right-wing conspiracy theorist, depending on how we want to see you, for not getting on board our Sanders, for not getting on board our Trump. And it's like, for those of us not on the Clinton train, not on the Trump train, we don't have a community. I'm hoping that as one person, that maybe I can show the world what small community may look like of independent voices. But Alex Jones is there to discredit not just the idea of raising questions about 9/11, but a lot of other things. There was a time in history when I would have my 9/11 rallies in Portland, and fellow Alex Jones listeners would show up, and we felt like we were a part of a community. Maybe we'd go out and have a few beers afterwards and talk about the new world order. There aren't get-togethers like that with current Alex Jones listeners. Current Alex Jones listeners don't run around saying that there's more to know about 9/11. It's now into this political box and sideshow. And it's there to demonize the white American of tomorrow. And so you have all these people that say that they are concerned about demonization of their own people. They say that they're concerned about the future of America. They say they're concerned about various security-related issues. And yet you can have someone acting out in the open in plain sight as a performance actor, performance artist. A person like Alex Jones can't admit what he is. And he acts in a specific way so that the control left can go, look at what Alex Jones represents. He represents this fringe element of America. We better clamp down on free speech, they say. And Alex Jones behaves as an agent of the Matrix in his war, in reality, against free speech. As more and more Americans that don't know any better are being influenced to think that clamp downs on free speech should be something that we should consider. And it's like, it's been there in plain sight that Alex Jones has been promoted by the Google, YouTube algorithm for a very long time, while saying that he's being held back. There are other people that do the same thing while they sit there with 500 plus subscribers, saying that they're being held back because of their politics, because of their ethnicity. As a white male, they're being held back. They're being held back. They're being hacked with 3 million subscribers. They're being held back with 500,000 subscribers. I'm not so sure they know what being held back actually is, if they call that being held back. The thing that people forget is we're not in control of our own government. Even if people are happy with Trump and think that Trump represents them, just because they want to believe that doesn't make it true. He doesn't represent us, nor did Barack Obama represent us. It's all the same show. People can go ahead and see left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left. But it's really the same system of oppression. It's really the same military industrial complex. It would be a great parallel reality where Alex Jones was trying to bring his people together. You know what I mean? Can you picture, like, if there was like a good version of Alex Jones that actually believed some of that stuff, was actually trying to do something to, you know, jab in the eye of the New World Order. I'm going to show you, New World Order. We're going to bring the people together. We're not going to divide them. We're going to bring them together. And have we seen that? We have seen the ultimate divide. Don't underestimate Alex Jones. He can convince his listeners in large numbers to go after individual people if he was to have his hit list. And the greater concern, right, is that he would have government-sanctioned protection from the top. He even had that protection under Barack Obama, because Barack Obama was never an enemy of Alex Jones. And Alex Jones was never the enemy of Barack Obama. We would see signs of that. We would see them really bringing out the dirt. It wouldn't detour into some rumor whether or not someone sucked on you-know-what in a friggin' hotel room over cocaine. I mean, that's not the ultimate way you expose someone. That makes it tabloidish. It was so difficult trying to explain to liberals in Portland why I continued to be an independent during Barack Obama's years in office. And they just played this game like, no, we know you're a right-wing extremist. Don't try to pretend like you care about these things and you care about people. Alex Ansary, we've seen you promote Alex Jones. You're an extremist. And they would talk to me like I was garbage. Out of all those people that are going to bat in comment sections all across America for Alex Jones, where is there any evidence they promoted Alex Jones in the early days? Maybe run around with a megaphone as I did, saying 9/11 was a ... 9/11 was a ... Were you there? Were you at my rally? Were you at my 9/11 was a that rally? Or are you a Johnny come lately? Did you care about the early messages? And I'm just speaking this as a question to all people that may find this video later. Who knows? Maybe the comment section is blowing up right now with all types of wild expletives. I don't know. I'm not looking. But what I can tell you is the antics of Alex Jones aren't really funny because they can be used against people like me, people like you. If you believe in sharing your independent voice and views, if you're not just a consumer of content, if you're a creator of content or someone that manages a website or someone that could be put into a box, seen as a threat if you're waking people up, this is the ultimate Alex Jones COINTELPRO. So Ashley or Ashton Whitty went down to InfoWars, and this is what she had to say about the falling out. And it's unfortunate a lot of people like Ashley don't see Alex Jones for what he is, that they actually have to get to know him personally. My speakers aren't very loud, so I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. With this fan on, you're not going to be able to hear a thing. She spills the beans about InfoWars. It's called Ashley Spills the Beans About InfoWars. That's the name of the YouTube video. And she starts crying and she stops herself from saying what happened. So she doesn't actually tell you what happened. But what she says is, when she was arguing with a socialist girl in the streets of Austin, Texas, Ashley claims that InfoWars edited her woman on the street interview in order to make Ashley look bad. And she said, in fact, instead of like the dialogue ending with this Sailor Moon character, the dialogue or interview actually went on for a little bit longer. And she had certain points that were made. And in the InfoWars video that was purportedly, you know, just straight pro-Trump, pro-conservative, pro-using the info babe to sell lies and sell wars that never end, by the way, while acting like you care about the innocents and crying for the children. So Ashley, according to her, actually had a better argument than InfoWars presented, meaning that InfoWars is working against a conservative woman's intellectual voice. That means that all those people that are like, oh, InfoWars, you know, they're for a man that makes them look barbaric, when even some of their own arguments and points, right, could be made with way more manners. And seeing people now are in this type of mentality of, I'm not going to be civil. Oh, yeah, well, I'm not going to be civil. Well, there are people that aren't even in this manufactured civil war, that aren't even doing anything or going to any protests. And yet a lot of these people on the left and the controlled right and the controlled left that aren't even earning Soros paychecks, but are just acting like that anyways. Not even earning Jones paychecks, but are acting like that anyways. Although when we talk about Joey Gibson and other individuals, right, there appears to be a connection between them and InfoWars from the beginning, right? So don't think that some of those people that are often on a regular basis in the media and organizing these protests in Portland, don't think that they're just doing it because they're bored, because it seems like a good idea. I mean, they're risking violence. Those are some degenerate individuals in the Portland area that are assaulting people. And I don't agree with any of it. There are sick individuals on both sides. Just like Trump saying there's good people on both sides, there are sick individuals actually on both sides that are only going to those rallies. You don't see me at those rallies. They are only going to those rallies to fight. The controlled left loves Alex Jones. The controlled left loves Alex Jones. He's their bad man. Bad man. Bad man. Monkey see, monkey do. And as a lot of men that have never been activists themselves and never been radio hosts themselves gravitate to people like Alex Jones, he becomes their daddy. Because at one point I looked up to him. That's why I know, right? that there was another Alex Jones before the new school Alex Jones listeners arrived on the scene to create their disturbance. Because I knew early on when I found Alex Jones in 2000, like, wow, this guy he's got the spirit. He's got that fighting spirit. Good thing he's on our side. But the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones has never been on our side. And that's what makes the situation so very dangerous. Looking briefly at the comment section. True Guy Glenn, I am good. I am good. And they're trying to discredit conservatives, says Mark. So we have a couple people in the chat room that get it. So I'm not going to do a long video today. I said my piece. And you can have your conservative and or liberal views, by the way, I think, and have a little bit of the old school Alex Jones spirit in you to rage against the machine. You may disagree, to wake up to something. That doesn't mean that he's all encompassing good. That's what the people that are, well, he did so much good. He did so much good. Exactly. What were those things that he co-opted? What were those issues that he co-opted? And with the way that Alex Jones has been acting in recent years, do you think that there's ever going to be a popular support of a bunch of people raising questions about 9/11 ever again? You know, at one point, there were people on the left during Bush's years that wanted to know the truth. Do you remember? I'm not going to start mocking Michael Jackson, but do you remember? Do you remember when we carried signs? Okay, that's... Oh, man. Pete Santilli and his gang. Oh, Vinny Eastwood's got the story. Vinny Eastwood's got the story. That stuff's creepy. That is some really creepy stuff what happened with Pete Santilli in Burns, Oregon. And it's creepier than what most of you know. That level of sabotage with what happened with, you know, the Hammonds. And by the way, I just started live streaming again. They demonetized most of my videos yesterday, but I'm going to keep doing it because I appreciate your support. I appreciate going live. And I've been living off the grid for a few years here. And only now is the technology good enough in which I can come to you without it breaking up. Jason says Alex changed when the election came in 2015. It was in 2014. Well, he changed earlier on. It got worse then. It was more like, oh, in your face. What? But he was already, do you remember Joe Biggs? Do you remember when Joe Biggs acted dressed up like a Middle Eastern, don't want to get flagged here, Middle Eastern terrorist, and act like he was crossing the border into the United States from Mexico? Do you remember that? Now, how many real stories have we actually heard about real things that have come across that border regarding that group? And real major attacks since, I mean, they haven't built the wall yet. So these are things to ask ourselves. Whatever happened between Joe Biggs and Alex Jones is between them, but it's not politics. It's straight up personality. So even conservatives themselves need to work on their own micro people skills, because you can have, for example, let me just say, like someone being persecuted for living on their land, who's a Trump supporter, for example. And there could be others, right, that are like all happy and thinking that this is just fighting the deep state. And, oh, hey, oh, now we're winning. Oh, now we're being threatened by the deep state. Oh, second Civil War threats. But you can have like literally Trump people making Trump people homeless because they're not keeping up they're not up to code with the land use codes. For those familiar with off the grid politics, that they want us pushed back into the city and not living on our own land. And so even those that are like pro manga and all that believe in liberty and constitutional stuff, there's like real stuff happening right now that they could be mobilizing on a grassroots level. And it could be way more peaceful in that situation in Burns or any Bundy type situation. Just get lawyers involved and countersue those counties or those individuals that are trespassing on people's constitutional rights. Now, without going into long-winded explanations, what have we seen? We've seen fringe groups, sovereigns, for example, the sovereigns, We've seen people like a certain individual that went to Burns, Oregon after he came to Costilla County, who's now sitting behind bars because he was making claims that he was saying he was a judge. He was saying that he was going to organize a bunch of U.S. Marshals, not real U.S. Marshals, but like self-appointed and stuff. So this fringe group, this guy was going around to these different areas, trying to rally people up and get them to put their first and last name on a piece of paper. And that guy is now sitting in a federal detention center. There's articles I posted at Off Grid Co. Now, when you wake up and you realize that that dude has supporters, there are people out there that think that that's the way to go. Yeah, we need to just declare ourselves our own law and go around threatening public officials. Whoa, that's scary, man. That's a federal operation. You can't get down with that ever. Pete Santilli was straight up down with that on the Burns level. And he was getting away with stuff and saying stuff even in the years prior, running up to, like shooting a particular former presidential candidate and the you-know-what. And I'm thinking, if I were to talk like that, I want to get away with that. And so what I'm saying, and then I'll look at the comments in a minute, there's common sense that has to come into play. Yeah, we got to fight for private property rights. We need to get organized. We need to get bipartisan lawyers that aren't going to make this a political thing. We're going to stand up for our rights, and we're going to push back against these injustices and try to get them to update their land use codes. But a standoff, declaring ourselves the public officials and ourselves the police officers, wow, good luck with that. Do you have a whole country backing you? You in what army? So whether we're talking about that guy, or whether we're talking about Pete Santilli, or whether we're talking about Alex Jones making conservatives, and I would even say a lot of white Americans look bad, right? Because it's amping up racial tensions. And these are unnecessary amping up of issues when we need to be like a little bit more focused on the budget, the economic collapse, without diverting and creating disinformation as to where all this money is going. Yes, there are social programs that some argue is draining by design this nation. But if we just scapegoat certain social programs and people receiving those programs, we may not be looking at then the trillions of dollars that the military pool is sucking up. Because you know as well as I do, there are people that are against these widespread social programs, but do not have a problem with the current military industrial complex budget. Even more so, right? Because some people still think that Trump is a maverick. Networks like AMTV suggest that Donald Trump's letting it ride, right? As if the United States has some sort of magic button. And we're just meant to assume that the United States has a magic button. Oh, look at those interracial slur against Asians here. Look at those. They ain't going to be able to do da-da-da-da. And then just slowly we keep getting this information. China's military is now at this level. The U.S. military is going bankrupt at this level. The U.S. military by design has been outstretched into all these different levels on this level, right? And it's like so obvious while China stretches before it flexes, before it strikes. And it just seems to be so perfect what they're doing here. And the question is, why doesn't our fellow countrymen see through this left-right paradigm? Alex Jones early on would like warn about InfoWars, you know, just to get his InfoWars army pumped up and angry. And maybe through false news like that, he can amp up even more anger and maybe even get some of the unknowing Chinese angry in the nationalistic war. Screw those Chinese people. They could be like, screw those Americans. Oh yeah, well, screw you Chinese people. Yeah, well, screw you Americans. And it's like, it's building. It's building. It's building. Do any of you see this building coming up? And Alex Jones amping up this aggression, and certain people that seem to be key propaganda players for the Trump administration amping up this conflict with China, which doesn't need to happen. People like Alex and Chris Green and others could keep it on point that China has been built up by the West to play out this role. Then why divert it into this all elusive Wizard of Oz deep state run by Soros and Clinton alone, as if they are literally, just because they smell like sulfur and whatnot, this fable that they run the world by themselves. And think about it. So many people in our country now believe that this whole new world order is run by this two tag team. It's the tag team champions, Hillary Clinton and George Soros. Yeah, just like the Legion of Doom coming out with their spikes. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, just literally put the Legion of Doom spikes on Hillary and Soros and just say that they're running the system by themselves. It's a good thing Daddy returned. Hopefully Daddy will be able to keep the lights on. Daddy's returned. Donald Trump. You know, okay, I need to calm down. There was a time where, again, InfoWars is my primary source for news. So the thing is, you may not agree with the things that I'm saying. Some people that may come. I see we have no likes since this video started 26 minutes ago. 0 likes. The point is that from the left, you're only going to get a narrative that's demonizing all conservatives and all people that think for themselves. From Alex Ansary, you're going to get the perspective from the guy that's actually lived it, that's actually has 10 years under his belt, at least in his lifetime, running around promoting Alex Jones like it was the end of the world. And the question is, for all those people that are diehard Alex Jones fans of today, where were they when I was looking for my fellow info warriors to my left and my right? When 9/11 was that was the narrative. Where were my InfoWars Alex Jones friends then? When the narrative was 9/11 was a You know what I mean? 9/11 was a Let me hear that from it. All those are gonna back for Alex Jones. Let me hear you say 9/11 was a You can't do it. You can't do it because it's not in your heart. It's not in you, Dark Jedi. It's the Muslims that are to blame. It's the white genocide narrative. See, the reason why some people don't believe or like Alex Jones that believe those things is because Alex Jones makes them look bad. They're not against those narratives. They're against Alex Jones doing those things to make them look bad. They're not against those narratives. And when I saw how insane Alex Jones was capable of being, I would say early on, wow, if that guy ever went to the dark side, God help us. If that guy ever went to the dark side, God help us. That man has an army behind him. And I'm warning you, Americans, this is not over. This is not over. This is not a joke. Alex Jones is not a joke. Alex Jones is not a man to be laughed at. This is not a joke. This man, this situation that has full systematic globalist support is not a joke. This man is a threat to our friggin' lives and our liberty and security as we go deeper into the future of America. He is there to burn our free speech for the real anti-New World Order activist. That's why all the trolls that appear that are pro-Alex Jones don't have their own content. Very rarely do they have their own content. Some of them aren't even in the United States. And we were starting to notice, wow, this really extreme pro-Alex Jones narrative stuff, it's in broken English. And then we were told, wait a minute, if we even bother to look at this Cambridge Analytica stuff, we're Democrats. No, you can be an independent and know about the fake Facebook news and still be an independent. Did you know that Black Lives Matter or the Don't Shoot rally, the Don't Shoot page that had 300,000 subscribers or followers was started by Russians? And how difficult would it really be for our own government to work with Russians to create civil war within? Why would that be like a strange narrative for like the US and Russia to be working together as a part of the same New World Order? Why is that difficult? That's like obvious. That's like obvious. Russia, the United States, China, they're all tied together and they're involved in a depopulation program. They want us to fight each other so they can have full rulership. Whoever owns Putin, whoever owns Trump, whoever owns Hillary Clinton, they're all owned, if you will, by the king lizards of the world. And I say that jokingly, but also literally. But you see, if they can demonize the person that really questions what's going on and compare them all to an Alex Jones fan base, then they've won. And I want to believe that they haven't won. I want to believe that there's hope, The other dark side of Alex Jones is he can, because of his antics, convince other conservatives or other liberty-minded people or others to not get involved. Also, what if someone likes a lot of what Alex Jones says, but he's saying, but if you believe this, that, and the other, you're a George Soros paycheck-taking libtard. Why insult potential allies? Why insult your own fan base? Why throw them under the bus? And then back up, drive forward. Back up, drive forward. Why have an army of trolls that act like they support Alex Jones, but not saying that 9/11 was a Do they have an image of themselves saying that to their own community members with a megaphone, as Alex Ansary has? People don't give you a beer for saying 9/11 was a through a megaphone. They go, screw you, asshole. Probably just flag my own video. The one reason I did that was because I cared. No one invites you to parties when you're seeing the streets going 9/11 was a They think you've lost it. They're wondering if you need to be force medicated. First of all, that takes bravery and balls to have your community throw tomatoes at you. You make us look bad. You're not a real liberal. You're not a real progressive. You're right, I'm not. Nor am I a conservative. I'm Alex Ansary. I'm a human being. And I live now in the day and age where there's a witch hunt for the independent thinker. Can you imagine, right, if all those supposed Alex Jones fans from the past that actually cared about saying 9/11 was if they all got together and went camping, if they started to hook up together and do things, start their own political party? Have you ever seen the people that are generally anti-establishment ever try to promote the idea of getting together? I don't mean stalking people on the internet. I mean genuine community and what that actually means and showing that we know what that means. Have you ever seen it? Ever, in any circumstance, by anyone? You're not going to find it on a Max Egan podcast. Nice try. That's not going to bring a solution to anything. Even if you enjoy it. Wow, I really like enjoying the sound of this guy. He makes me feel good. Great. What happened as a result of that? So, I mean, there was a time when I moved to Colorado and I thought that if I moved away from the Portland area that I would find like minds in the state of Colorado, and I found the Matrix. I mean, there are people that actually think they're anti-New World Order that are pro-selection, current selection, thinking that it's actually different just because they didn't like where we came from. They think that it's different now. Everything's co-opted. And then I found out that in the state of Colorado, they targeted some of the most fake news and fake Sharia law invasion memes. Almost as if so, one day when someone like Alex Ansary was to move to Colorado, the community wouldn't even be there. I can even show you people on the left that are anti-Trump in Denver. I can't even talk to them. Why? Because all they are a group of people in the controlled left having their whole, oh, we're so angry, it's Trump. Okay, well, what about respecting people in your own community or in your own state that are being their own media? There's no respect for the independent YouTuber. It's all a matter of getting down and which male member are they going to fondle? Is it going to be Donald Trump or is it going to be the Sanders? And it's like there is no left, right. There's just one society with herd animals looking for political saviors to fawn at with 1984 style moments of hate. So Obama can come out and they can have their 2 minutes of hate, or Trump can come out and they can have their 2 minute moments of hate. At the same time, the same country can have the same schizophrenic split to where you have your left and your right, but no one, hardly anyone within the whole of society going, wait a minute, screw the left and the right. We need to like break off from you crazy, hungry cannibal masses that are fighting in the streets. We need to have like a parallel society to where it's not left and it's not right. There is just people. And I think that we're waiting for the world to end first. I think people are waiting for these world-shattering events to take place to where there's no more technology And who knows, maybe in our lifetime we'll be there. But Alex Jones, I'm going to end this video. I want to thank all of you that have joined in the chat room. I'm going to spend more time responding to some of the things that are in the chat. When I look up on the chat page, I know I was on quite a bit of a rant there, catching my breath. It's very difficult for me to talk and look at the chat at the same time and keep my focus. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. Nobody has to agree with me 100%. How could we all agree 100%? I appreciate the fact that you're there. I appreciate the fact that you thumbed up. Please subscribe to this channel if you're new. Thank you to people like Jared and Holly and others that have chipped in a little bit, as well as people on Patreon on a monthly basis. Even if you're just chipping in $5, all of those independent contributions add up to this sum that enable me to do this full time, even with the YouTube apocalypse. And I'm able to live off the grid for a few $100s a month. I'm happy. My life isn't easy, right? But I'm glad that I am not on board any major political memes. And I do pray, I'm not religious, but I do pray to the Creator that I can start stumbling upon more fellow truth seekers in the state of Colorado that aren't just concentrated in Denver, but even if they are in Denver. I've been doing what I've been doing for a number of years in almost full-time isolation, living in a very conservative, rural part of Colorado. It has never been lonelier. They do not like outsiders in Colorado. It is very difficult to find like minds. So as we pray for this nation, right? Pray for me to find like minds, because if I was able to work with a team of other individuals in Denver or somewhere else, the world hasn't ended yet. We could do so much more if it was more than just one of us. And I would say that this infighting, that's not even the right word, the co-opting of both liberals and conservatives into this mainline Democrat and Republican, right? Because there is real grassroots on both the liberal and conservative side. There are some differences of opinion, but they both are co-opted at the top. And we have a situation now where there are fires that are raging throughout Colorado. It's now approaching 103,000 acres burning at the spring fire, which is within driving distance of where I'm at now. There literally could be a fire here tomorrow. So we have fires in the forest, natural disasters. We're going into bankruptcy. And the number one spectacle sport, like we're actually living out the Hunger Games, is watching some dude knock out some dude in Portland, Oregon. And people are literally getting off on that and making hyena laughing sounds. I mean, I have an appreciation for the martial arts and analyzing fights. I'm not watching that stuff. I showed you like a watered down version of what the news reported on, but it's like there's a part of us that is violent naturally. And what's being promoted, whether you identify with Donald Trump or conservatism or not even liberalism, but just the riot, revolutionary type attitude on the other side, what's getting done out of that? Are the streets perceived to be like safer in Portland, Oregon because we have Antifa beating up on the Trump supporters? No, it means that the streets are less safe in Portland, Oregon because of Antifa. Not more safe, less safe. And I'm saying that as an independent thinker, not as a conservative, not as a liberal. I'm saying that as Alex answering. I'm saying that as somebody that knows Portland, Oregon. And for those that don't know Portland, Oregon, and have no idea like why they're watching so many people fight in Portland, Oregon, well, they don't know Portland, Oregon's history. It has a history of people that street fight. Those people aren't really passionate about politics, is what I'm saying. Even if you think or others think that Tiny Tootsie or Joey Gibson is, it's not. It's a city that historically has had unhinged people repeatedly getting involved in street fights. That's why there's so many bouncers in bars in Portland. It's because they're notorious for having problems. The people that are showing up for the Proud Boys, as well as the Antifa, all they are is playing into that street fighting American spirit. And they found themselves a niche in Portland, Oregon. They're now in a time and a space reality where they can duke it out with other people in the streets. And the cops, for the most part, are going to look the other way. There are certain states like New Mexico where you just barely block someone attacking you and you could have a warrant for your arrest. for just really struggling to get someone attacking your camera. That's the type of country we live in some states. But in Oregon, right, the cops can look the other way, while people, for the most part, beat each other into a bloody pulp. And so you don't really have a system against Alex Jones when you have Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama saying his name on the mainstream media. We have now one of the most dangerous men in American history because he has the ability to marginalize many Americans in a particular box. The things that are happening now, the things that Richard Spencer is doing and others are doing, these are things that foreign governments can bring up as like a case against America in the future. Notice how both Richard Spencer and Alex Jones provoked on the level that they did around the time of the full moon. Many of you didn't notice this, that many of Richard Spencer's marches in Charlottesville were around the period of the full moon. And this whole thing about the Second Civil War, right? Hashtag Second Civil War, which is actually fake news to discredit himself, was coordinated after this full moon. And did you notice the increase in natural disasters around the 4th, this full moon? Did you notice the story about that crazy guy in Idaho that stabbed 9 children, some of them refugees? The 3-year-old died in Idaho. Are you noticing like the other increase in civil unrest? And it's almost as if Alex Jones and Spencer and even some others, even on the left, it's like they're all reading from a script or playing off of this aggressive energy that's in the ether. Whether Alex Jones himself is possessed by demonic forces and or Alex Jones himself receiving a script that, hey, we want you to amp up these concerns right in between these dates. It'll really amp up your audience that won't even know its own biological response to the howling effect of the full moon. And I've noticed around the full moon and certain other astrological influences like the solar flares, some people will be more aggressive. And if someone's got a head full of mind control and they have that additional aggression, and I just watch the way people drive in this neighborhood when it's a full moon because I'm in mountain country. Okay, some of the mountain men around the time of the full moon, you want to keep a good distance of about 10 to 15 feet. I'm going to wrap things up. I want to thank you for being a part of this live stream. I want to thank those of you that are supporting with your prayers behind the scenes and also supporting in other ways. It's difficult for a guy like me to work in mainstream society. You might have guessed that, but it's not a matter of not wanting to work. It's a matter of working around people that are going to discriminate those of us that speak our mind. So it's not easy to make a buck, right? But I still go out once in a while looking for other work, looking for other places. The problem is it is a very difficult society nowadays when you spent your life on YouTube. I think one thing that would be great, one thing that I'd like to ask for as I pray openly to the Creator is work opportunities where someone isn't going to go, well, Alex Ansary believes this. Oh, Alex Ansary's had slander against him. Alex Ansary is this. Oh, it's like at some point, somebody's got to find my YouTube channel that's in a position to hire. When you pray for me, keep that in your heart as well. I want to thank you guys for being there, and I got to go.